Has your breast cancer treatment finally been booked and suddenly it all feels real? Maybe you're preparing for chemotherapy or surgery or your very first treatment appointment, and you're wondering, how am I going to get through this? In this episode, I am sharing what I wish I'd known before the treatment began, the practical things that helped me prepare, and how God gave me the courage to take the next step, one day at a time. Come and take your seat. Are you scared of leaving your children behind after a breast cancer diagnosis? Are you carrying fear, exhaustion, and that mom guilt while still pushing through every day? If you're tired of holding all of that and want simple ways to support your children and feel held in your journey and move through each day with a little more strength, you're in the right place. Hey, I'm Priska. I'm a mom of two, a woman of faith, and a breast cancer survivor. As a mom, I tried to carry it all alone, but I was never meant to. So I created this space for us. Come sit with me. You don't have to do this alone. So go grab your cup of tea. Yes, that cold cup of tea. I know you've heated it thrice already. And let's get started. Hey friend, before we get started today, I just want to say I'm really proud of you for showing up for yourself today. I know life can feel really heavy sometimes, so the fact that you pressed play, it means more than you know. And if you know someone who's going through a breast cancer diagnosis who might need to hear this episode, please do share it with them. Sometimes a simple message saying, "I thought of you when I had this," can make someone feel a little less alone. And if this podcast has helped you or encouraged you in any way, please leave a written review too. I truly love hearing from you. And your reviews, they help other moms find this podcast. So let's get started. Hey friend, come and take your seat. I've got my cup of tea beside me and hopefully you've got yours too. Maybe treatment starts tomorrow or maybe it starts next week. And I've been thinking about this conversation for a while because I remember exactly what this season felt like for me. It's not the day I was diagnosed, it's not the day I received my prognosis, it's the day the treatment became real. Because there comes a time when all the scans have been done, the biopsies are finished, you've told your family, you've told your children, you've met the surgeon, you've met the oncologist, and you've heard all the words like stage, grade, treatment plan. So many times they almost stop sounding like real words. And then one day, someone hands you a date and tells you this is when treatment begins. And I've realized something about that moment. It's the place where everyone else can stand beside you, but no one can walk it for you. Your husband can't sit in that chemo chair for you. Your mom can't receive the treatment for you. Your best friend can't have the surgery instead of you. This is the road that has your name on it. And that's frightening. I remember writing in my diary on the day my treatment started. Only 4 weeks had passed since hearing the words that you've got breast cancer. Like 4 weeks. And yet I felt like I'd lived a whole entire lifetime in that 4 weeks because so much had changed, so much had happened. And that morning I opened my diary and I wrote these words: God, please guide my every step. Ordain every doctor, ordain every nurse, ordain every caregiver, and ordain every person who will walk this road with me, because it's not by my strength, but by yours that I will get through this. And I cried as I wrote those words, not because I had lost hope, because I knew I was standing at the beginning of something I'd never walked through before. And it was scary. And maybe that's where you are today. You're standing at the beginning and you're looking at this road ahead and you're wondering, how am I going to do this? Can I tell you something that helped me? I stopped trying to imagine the whole journey and I only asked God for enough strength for the next step. Because if I tried to carry chemotherapy or surgery or radiation and everything that came after that, all in one day, I would have been crushed. Joshua became a beautiful reminder for me. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. I noticed something I'd never really paid attention to before. You say you read that verse and you don't really take it in. God didn't say you won't feel afraid. He simply promised wherever you go, I will be there. And that changed how I walked into treatment. And instead of thinking, God, come with me, it was already God has already gone before me. And depending on your diagnosis, your treatment will look different. Some women will begin with surgery, others will begin with chemo, and others with different treatments altogether. So please don't compare your journey with someone else. And also, if you can, don't listen to what people say. People mean well. They'll say, oh, my neighbor started with surgery, or my cousin didn't need chemo. Are you sure that's the right plan? Just remember, every cancer is different, every body is different, and every treatment plan is different. Trust the team God has placed around you, pray for them, and God will guide them. For me, I had stage 3 triple negative breast cancer. It was aggressive, it was fast growing, and time really mattered. There wasn't space to wait. So chemo came first, and then surgery, and then radiation, and then more treatment afterwards. And I still had a whole kidney issue that needed to be addressed with a big major surgery that was put on hold while we dealt with the cancer. So I knew this journey was going to be a long, long one. So the journey looked long. And at first, hearing that felt overwhelming. I wasn't looking at one mountain. It was a whole entire mountain range. But I've since learned something since then. God really asks us to climb every mountain today. He just asks us to take a step. So he does not want you to climb the whole mountain. He asks you to take today's step. Because tomorrow's strength will arrive tomorrow. So don't think about tomorrow. And as the treatment got closer, there are practical things that made the journey a little easier. And one of the best things I did was ask questions. And I asked lots of questions. I wanted to understand the treatment, the medication, the possible side effects, who I should call if something didn't feel right, what temperature counted as a fever, and what symptoms meant I shouldn't wait, that I needed to go to the hospital soon. And I was incredibly blessed to have a breast care nurse. She became my safe place. Whenever I wasn't sure about something, I called her instead of Google. Honestly, that protected my peace. And one little advice she gave me has stayed with me ever since. And she said, Priska, this is not the time to be a hero. As moms, you kind of have this hero that, oh, I can push through this, I can push through this. She said, this is not the time to be a hero. If you develop a fever, go to hospital. Don't wait. If you feel something is wrong, don't push through. Don't convince yourself you'll be okay tomorrow. Because sometimes strength looks like asking for help early. I discovered, so that was the one big lesson I took, that if there's anything that feels wrong, just go to hospital. Then the other thing I discovered was the practical things that made treatment days feel little, less overwhelming. So I had what became my chemo bag. My sister-in-law bought me the most beautiful bag, so that became my chemo bag. And from that day on, it went everywhere with me for treatment. So what did I buy? Inside it was a long phone charger, because your phone will probably die when you're scrolling through your phone and you need to plug it into power. So find a long phone charger that will keep you that you can use for your phone when you're in treatment. I had a blanket. I put in some snacks there, a water bottle, I got some puzzle books, a lip balm, and everything that made the long hours in hospital feel a little more familiar. And it reminded me of packing a baby bag. When you pack everything, you hope you won't need everything inside, but there's comfort in knowing that it's there. And then something else that we did before treatment started, we also stocked the freezer with meals. We bought groceries, organized childcare, made plans for transports, because I knew there are days when cooking dinner simply wasn't possible. So if you're preparing for treatment now, do those little things while you have the energy, because your future self will be so grateful. You'll be so glad you made these meals. And one thing that was so good at that point is I was still well. I was still active. There was cancer sitting back there, but my body was still me. So I tried to do all the things, clean the house, make as many meals, just organize things, because I didn't know what tomorrow held. So if that's you now, just organize and do the things you can now, and your future self will thank you. Then one thing that I hadn't thought much about until treatment got closer was my hair. So hair loss suddenly became real, and that can bring its own grief. Some women cut their hair short before treatment, some choose wigs, some wear scarves, and some explore scalp cooling if that's available in your treatment in your hospital. So start exploring what options. There's no right way or wrong way, but start thinking about that. And only, because it's something you'll have to deal with. So think about that, and only do the way that feels right for you. Another thing I can encourage you is find your people. You could join a breast cancer support group. For me, I joined a Facebook breast cancer support group for people near me. And that became one of the greatest gifts of my journey. Not because everyone had the same cancer, but because everyone understood. They shared practical tips no brochure ever mentioned. What helped with nausea? What could you go to the shops and get right now? What foods were easier to eat? How to sleep? How to talk to children? How to get through difficult days? It was a sisterhood of people who were going through the same thing, and there were people who'd gone through the same thing, and there was just sort of some connection. People I've never met, but together there we shared, and I learned so much. So find a breast cancer support group, because they'll become your tribe. And also because there's something deeply comforting about hearing someone say, "Oh, I've been there. Oh, this happened to me." As I look back now, I realized treatment wasn't only changing my body. It was teaching me dependence. I've always thought myself as very independent, but treatment taught me dependence. It's dependence on God, dependence on people, dependence on grace. I didn't walk into that first chemo session feeling brave. I walked in feeling afraid, but I walked in anyway. And perhaps that's what courage really is. It's not pretending that we are fearless, but it's taking the next step while holding tightly, like how a little child holds tightly onto the mom's arm when they are so fearful. It's holding tightly to God's hand. So if treatment begins soon, take a deep breath, pack your bag, ask questions, lots of questions. Prepare your home, do the things that you can now, and trust your medical team. And lean on the people who love you. Don't be afraid to receive help or to ask for help, because God has put those people around you for a season and for a reason. And above all, remember this: the God who has brought you this far will walk you through every treatment room, every scan, every surgery, and every difficult day ahead. And you don't need the strength for the whole journey today. You only need enough strength for the next step, and God has promised to meet you there. So thank you for spending this little bit of your day with me, and I've loved having you here. And until next time, there's always a seat right here for you, right next to me. I hope this episode held you in some small way today. And if it did, please share with a friend who needs to hear this, or maybe needs a soft place to land. And if you feel ready, please leave a written review for the podcast. I'd truly love to hear from you and to know that this show is supporting you in your journey. This space, it's not just mine, it is ours. So now go take a breath, maybe reheat that tea one more time, and I'll meet you back here for the next episode. Ciao.